Good morning, everyone. As always, my name is Hunter, aka the Ultra American TTRPGer, aka the Jim Jones of Classic Gaming. And thank you for joining me on this Saturday morning for the very first episode of the UltraCast. And I got a few others just hanging out with me in the background right now, so I'm going to bring them in and introduce them all to you. Starting off with you may have seen this guy a little bit around on X. He's a friend of mine, and we got back in touch recently, and he wanted to be on the show. So let me introduce you to Duskquill.
Hello, everyone. It is Duskquill here. How are you all doing this morning? How are you doing, Hunter?
I've been doing good. And of course, you may recognize this next person I'm about to bring in, as I am now running the Curse of Strahd campaign for him on the Rustic Rollers YouTube and Rumble channel. Let me bring in Mr. Roger.
Howdy, everybody. Roger, head CEO of Country Town Pop and apparent great value brand Tim Pool.
And then, last but not least, another final guest, our powerful silencer of the OSR. Here's Johnny.
I have no brand yet. It's still in committee.
No brand.
I should have prepared something dealing with professionals.
Oh, there's no professionalism here. We're just a bunch of guys who love our games and just love the hobby.
Exactly.
All right. So one thing I usually like to start off, like all my other streams like I usually do, but I just like to ask in general, and I'll go by one at a time. So Duskquill, did you do any gaming this week?
As far as tabletop, no. All my tabletop stuff is usually done on the weekends. Every other Sunday, me and a couple of my friends would do a homebrew 5e game, while on every weekend on the Saturdays, I'm with an indie tabletop, indie comic book group, and we do games every Saturday just to test out systems we like. But we haven't been able to do stuff the past couple of weeks because of personal issues. But currently, we're supposed to be playing, me being the DM, some Call of Cthulhu.
Nice.
Ooh, 7th edition or a previous edition?
I think we're doing 6th edition. I could be mistaken on that. It's been a hot minute since I looked at the book. Let me check. Hey, scroll down.
I have the 7th edition PDF, but I am not a personal fan of the layout for Call of Cthulhu in general.
Oh, yeah?
Character creation is a pain in the ass.
A little bit, but my character just fucking... My group loves this fucking game. They love it so much.
All right, and hold on really quick. My buddy Spartan on Rumble here in the chat. Good to see you this morning. This is the very first episode of the UltraCast where we talk about RPGs for like the first half, and then we'll talk about maybe politics and current events in the later half, because the idea is, in a world that is trying to silence us, I want us to have louder voices in this world we are now currently in. So that's kind of the whole reason I started this on top of other stuff. But
oh yeah,
anyways,
it is 7th edition.
Yep. All right, Mr. Roger, what about you? Any other gaming this week besides the one I did for y'all on Sunday?
Well, the only other game that we have done is because we got alternating games on Mondays over on Rustic Rollers, where I am running a One Piece themed D&D 5e campaign with homebrew rules and whatnot. And the other one, which we just done on Monday, is one that my buddy Nomi S-Wins, who's a VTuber, runs, where if anybody here does watch anime, if you've ever seen Sword Art Online, just imagine that, but taking place in the land of Faerun, where we play characters who delve into like a virtual world of the past Faerun. I don't know why he came up with that kind of idea, but oh well, it's his game.
.hack will always be superior to Sword Art Online.
Thank you.
I will not debate this.
Thank you for saying that. Too many people will say, like, what the hell is .hack? I'm like, you uncultured swine.
I've never heard of .hack either, so I'm sorry.
Hunter, cultured swine.
unique. Like personally, like Sword Art Online, yeah, sure, fine, better animation, better sound design, but Dot Hack just has a not only a better story, but they sell the idea of gamers being stuck in a game better.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm basically as a culture as they come. Like I'm known for admitting on a live stream, but I had never seen any of the Predator movies ever. None of them.
Wait, never?
No Predator?
I grew up in
I'm
a
gonna
very,
leave now.
upset.
I agree
okay,
with
so I
Johnny.
grew up in a very strong conservative Christian household where like
Okay.
I wasn't even allowed to play Halo until I reached the age. And even though I like played at a friend's house and all that, I couldn't own any M-rated games before the age I could own one. And when I finally showed it to my dad, I'm like, oh, it's like Star Wars. I'm like, that's all I could have had to say to you for me to have this earlier than 17. And so
Wow.
I was mostly like
one of those
Disney and
houses
Saturday
that-
morning cartoons kid. That's basically what I was.
One of those households that believe Harry Potter promotes sorcery and say
No, we watched Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter like crazy. We were a big like fantasy
weird.
family on top
Okay,
of that.
That's
So,
Okay,
fucking weird.
Okay,
Holy
because I was
shit.
gonna say, if you grew up in that household, I could understand them about not watching Harry Potter, but if they tried to deny Lord of the Rings, it's like it's literally a Christian story for crying out loud.
It's a Christian-based mythological retelling of shit. Like, what the fuck?
it makes me. I love the skit that one guy did where it's like C.S. Lewis and J.R. Tolkien like having an argument, and C.S. Lewis at like the end of it goes, "I have Lion Jesus." Anyways,
Jesus allegory lion.
Mr. Johnny, did you get any gaming in this week?
Yeah, normally I don't, but I came back from Florida. There was a gaming convention, GrogCon. It's a subset of QuestCon, and so I played. I didn't run anything. I don't. Those guys have been playing consistently longer than me. They started early on. I managed to get killed a couple of times. I should have brought it out. I was on the team that won the tournament. So we had a
nice.
tournament. There were 3 teams, and first prize was a gold medal with the Emperor's visage on it, and second and third place were scorn and ridicule. Those were the prizes.
Oh, that's kind of
But yeah,
cool.
it was fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I'm not like y'all
Code
creating
Lyoko.
stuff. I don't create the GrogCon and the GrogCon people. They create. They got a little magazine flipping and turning, but it stopped at 20 issues. But if y'all ever played 1E, I have no idea how old anyone is. I'm 51, so
I'm
Really? I never would have
You
guessed.
don't look 50.
I-
You take
Yeah,
care of
it's
it.
like-
I've got a filter.
Oh my!
I got a filter on.
I was trying to put ears on, but yeah, I can't figure those out.
Well,
I'm 32 and I already got salt flakes appearing in my hair. So
Shit, am I actually the youngest guy here? That sucks.
I guess
Are you-
so.
yeah, I
Only by a
thought
couple
Roger
years,
was
though.
younger than me too because the voice really makes him sound younger.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my voice is just a product of what I brought back from GrogCon. Got a little bit of schmutz. But I've got a mask over my mic, so you aren't going to get anything.
Yeah,
Well, that's
so
good.
no, I was thinking Spartan when I showed that Code Lyoko comment. He said that was actually a show I did like whenever I got to watch it because one thing
Code
that I
Lyoko was
didn't
good.
have when I was growing up, I did not have good cable. I had very basic cable, so I did not get Cartoon Network. I did not get Kids WB. I did not get Disney Channel. The only time I saw that was when I saw Family up in Kansas City area, and that was the only time I ever got to see all that stuff.
Well,
But now it's completely different.
If you want to go back even further, Mar Hockman in the chat over on the YouTube side even brings up a Reboot. If anybody remembers,
I never
that.
saw Reboot. That was not one I ever saw.
Oh man, that was
It's
that
a
was in
drug
the
trip.
golden. That is the golden age of. It was back when Beast Wars was coming out, where TV was delving into CG, and it was just so stiff and choppy.
I loved Beast
Oh,
Wars, so that was
great.
like that was my introduction to Transformers was Beast Wars and Beast Machines.
That's how it was for a lot of people growing up in the 90s.
Yeah, and then there was at one point, I forget, I think it was for the main big three systems at the time, but there was a Beast Wars like fighting game that got released, and I remember playing
Yep.
that constantly with friends.
Yeah, it was on PS1.
So, jeez, yeah, and now it's like all I do is I have an old Xbox 360. I just play Skyrim and Bioshock Infinite on. That's it. I don't care for much of these other games out here.
I have just found the Ultra Podcast. I actually found your channel on YouTube, so no, I'm actually looking at the chat now, real time. Let's go.
You
Yeah,
can,
you should be able to see the chat through here too. You just can't reply
Yeah.
to the chat on here for some
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah, but I also
Like-
kind of like having constant eye on chat. Like when Comicsgate was a thing, I was basically everyone's fucking moderator, so I'm just comfortable having constant eye on the chat.
That's fine. Toonami, of course. Toonami was when I actually saw quite a bit of anime. It was the first time I watched Dragon Ball Z. First time I watched Yu Yu Hakusho. The later years when Toonami came back, I started watching. There was Dead Man Wonderland, which became one of my favorite animes.
Yeah.
There was another one where it was like this guy apparently caused the end of the world, but he lost his memories when he kind of came back to life or got reactivated or something. I can't remember the name of the show though. It was like this whole like robots took over the planet because of this dude, and like the last bits of humanity are being hunted down by these robots kind of storyline.
Wait, are they like robot like insects?
Not all of them. No.
Because if it's that, I know. I think I know.
A
what
paranoia
you're talking
agent.
about.
I think that was it. Is what Spartan says.
Paranoia Agent.
Paranoia agent
Paranoia
was,
Agent was good.
it was about the kid with the baseball bat.
The Little Slugger. Yeah.
Yeah, the little slugger.
It's
That
made
may
by,
not-
I can't remember the name of the studio, but it's made by the same people that made the Paprika movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not that one then. I'm thinking of something completely different then.
As well as Perfect Blue.
Oh,
Blue is a
Perfect
great
Blue.
movie.
Perfect Blue is a
What's a
mind
Perfect
trip.
Blue?
Perfect Blue was an anime movie about the horrific social and mental damages of idol culture. And it's about it's like kind of a trippy psychological thriller story about a serial killer that had psychosis.
Hunter, look up a Blue Gender. That might be what you're thinking of.
Blue Gender?
That is the
Hold on.
closest thing that I can think of what it is you could have been talking about.
It's not that either. It's like,
Okay.
it's going to drive me nuts. Hold on. I'm just going to look up Toonami now. While I'm doing that,
my favorite time block of Toonami was when they had that specific block of time where they did like very classic anime, like Astro Boy,
Yeah.
Cyborg 009.
Oh, Cyborg 009 was so awesome. I remember watching that, and then I remember watching they did like a CGI version of it on Netflix one time, and I binged watched the whole thing, and it gave me such a nostalgia trip. So let's give Johnny, because Johnny's just sitting here being bored out of his mind right now. It looks like. So what was kind of like? Were you ever like an anime watcher, or?
No, I remember when Robotech came on, and
there we go.
A buddy of mine from across the street, he watched it all the time, and he came over. His TV was on the Fritz or whatever, and I guess it had to be broadcast television. We used to have these antennas that we'd stick up on our roofs. I never. I'm sorry to say I can't add anything in that conversation apart from I thought Robotech was really cool because I liked the jets, but I never watched it.
You still the type of guy I think would. He's only the type of guy I think will either appreciate Cowboy Bebop or Big O.
Oh,
yeah, I've had people recommend stuff to me, and I've just never taken it up. I think some friends of mine left behind a videotape once, Vampire Hunter D. And I did watch.
Oh, Vampire!
Yes.
I did watch that.
Yeah,
but I don't remember it. It's been too long.
So I have not seen the
Trigun
original
wasn't a
anime
good
series,
recommendation
but I
too.
saw the Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust movie for the first time, like a couple months back, because the server I'm in, he does movie nights. So I've watched through that Vampire Hunter D. I've watched the Excalibur movie. I've watched Yellowbeard. I've watched
tell
the
me,
freaking.
Tell me, Johnny. Do you like westerns? Any like what are like western like storylines?
That's gonna be another. I'm terrible at answering questions quickly. Apparently, my dad was really he was big and he dressed up as Clint Eastwood and all that. I've got old pictures of him in the Halloween and stuff, but he wasn't around. So the westerns that I watched, like as a kid, I watched Bonanza, but I never saw any movies. We didn't have cable, so
Fair
I didn't
enough.
watch. Now I'm starting to catch up with it. And Unforgiven came out, and I was like, you know what? I want to watch more Clint Eastwood. If
Yeah,
I saw
I have.
something that was on TV, like
I
Beastmaster. Y'all seen Beastmaster?
Yeah,
I've
Yeah,
no.
that
I've
old
never even.
movie, that kind
I,
of stuff.
I know Beastmaster.
Tubi has become such a lifesaver for me because I'm trying to find all these movies because I've never seen a Clint Eastwood Western movie either. But there's a lot of them now on Tubi. Beastmaster's on Tubi. I'm familiar with Highlander. Never seen the movies except for like an anime one I happened to see on YouTube one time. There was a Highlander anime, but they're all the Highlander movies are now on Tubi, so I have that as well.
I need to see the anime movie of Starship Trooper. I've yet to done that.
And I found the name of the anime. It was called Casher and Sins, and it was a reboot of an old movie called Kashan, or an old series called
I know
Kashan.
exactly. Oh, Casher and Sins is fantastic.
If you want a real neural fucker philosophy of anime, I would definitely recommend. I forget the name of it, but it's one about the little girl with the egg.
I'm not
Angel's Egg
familiar
or
with
something
that
like
one. Another anime,
I know what you're talking about. Give me
an
a
anime
second.
I still need to also watch too
Angel's
is
Egg.
Elf.
Angel's Egg. That's what it is. That's
Angel's
a classic.
Egg?
1985.
Oh, you're talking about an older one. I thought you were talking about like the newer one that came out within the last few years.
No.
Because that's another one that's a real mind fuck of a story.
Like, if no one knows anything about Angel's Egg, but you're a Dark Souls fan, there's a whole reference to Angel's Egg in Dark Souls 3 when you go to the Ring City.
A couple, like, I know there's a bunch of animes that are now like they've made like live action versions of, like Alita Battle Angel was an anime that was turned into a pretty decent live action movie from what I heard.
Yeah, apparently it was pretty good.
Yeah, I've got it in my 4K collection.
And then I have not seen the live action Ghost in the Shell, and I've only seen bits and pieces of the anime. I've never seen like entirety.
Don't bother with the live action movie.
Oh, the one with Scarlett Johansson. I thought it was actually pretty all right.
And then there's also Kite as well. There's Kite as well.
Kite,
which it was an anime.
Really interesting. Yeah, Kite is.
Well, I mean, the live action has Samuel L. Jackson in it, so it's got to be good somewhat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, just because he's in it doesn't mean anything. I mean, for crying out loud, he was in the American remake of Old Boy.
True.
And never seen that one, I think so.
Just watch the South Korean movie. You don't need to bother with the American remake.
Do you mean about the anime girl that's basically Carnage? I don't know what Spartan's talking about with that comment there. Hold on, I'm sharing it really quick.
Carnage. Oh,
was he referred to the Angel's Egg anime that you just talked about, or
probably she doesn't really like do any of that. It's more of a philosophical deep think. There's no action in it really.
I think I think he's about to bring up what I was about to bring up is one I haven't seen, but I've heard so much good things about is Elfen Lied.
Oh, Elfen! That's probably what he was talking about. Elfen Lied, because I would definitely say she's more like Carnage in there.
That
well, there literally is a death battle episode where they fought, where Carnage and the Elfen Lied chick fight against each other. The Elfen Lied chick like just obliterates Carnage.
What the fuck?
Yeah, no contest.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
It was no contest.
But the one that I was thinking of earlier about the girl with an egg, it's called a Wonder Egg Priority.
Yeah, that is another one. I haven't watched it, but I've heard of it. That is another one.
Yeah, like I've heard nothing but good stuff about it. I feel bad for Johnny because
he's trying to figure out how to come up with these names.
Well, I'm about to rein back Johnny in with I'll kind of go into the next topic because I wanted to share this Kickstarter that I'm waiting to open up. Let me get it popped on the screen here really quick.
Kickstarter.
It's not on yet, but this is being started by the people who made Arduin's Portal or Arduin's Adventures. So I don't know if are you familiar at all with Arduin, Johnny, at all?
I know about Arduin's Grimoire. I did snag that off of somewhere off the internet,
Yes,
but
it's
that was an
same
old 1P
people.
thing. Really, they're still
Yeah, same.
alive.
Yes. Yep.
I'm
They
sorry.
actually did a live stream. So
They're
here's the thing.
venerable. I meant that in a
So
nice way.
Venerable.
yeah.
Venerable.
So
Yeah.
one of the games that I've been really playing into is this game. It's called Barrows and Borderlands, and it's a OE Science Fantasy retro clone. And the guy who made it, he's actually younger than all of us. He's 26. So this is a young guy that made this whole game, and he just released the third printing. Well, one of the things about his game that he made is he has these portals, and these portals allow the players to play other games that they can bring their characters into. Like there's a portal that goes to the Hyboria planet, so you can play Hyboria. There's a planet that goes to Arduin, so now you can play Arduin. There's also we just recently did an Empire of the Petal Throne game as well recently, not too long ago, and that's and I did a live stream making an Empire character, and it was dog shit rolls. It was so bad, but I still played it nonetheless, just because it was so fun to just see what I could do with them. And so this is Barrows of Borderlands, the Arduin game, and also Blackmore. Griff is also contributing to this. So it's 3 box set games in one big old like compilation box. Is what it's going to be.
Oh.
So there's going to be like maps and dice and all the booklets and all that. So you get Arduin, you get Barrows of Borderlands, and you'll get Blackmore on top of all this together in one big box.
Okay.
So
Cool.
Yeah, I've been seeing that
here we
Barrows
go.
and Borderlands, and it's looks just gorgeous. I keep buying stuff, and I haven't bought it yet, but it looks like something that'd just be fun to read. I have a hell of a time getting stuff to the table.
Yeah, like so it's not entirely, it's the Last Dungeons of Tonosburg, but still Blackboard. Like, see, this is the games, and then here's just a rough draft of what it's all going to be in that box right there. That is going to be everything. And Matthew actually has his own like printing that he does. So he is literally printing every single booklet. And he's been doing that for like the weeks now. Just printing stuff rapidly. Because the idea is as soon as this Kickstarter is fully funded and it's completed and done, like maybe give it like a month or two, and they're going to start trying to get stuff shipped out or set up as quickly as possible. Yeah, and he's even making a one of the adventures. You kind of can see it down here. It's called Dracula in Space, and it's a Barrows of Borderlands adventure he's making for this.
Dracula in Space.
Yeah. Yeah, 800 plus pages, 35 character classes, 65 plus character races, 130 plus character mutations, 300 plus monsters, 250 plus spells, crit and fumble tables. Yeah, there's so much that's going to be in
21
this.
different planes of hell. All right.
Wait, different planes of hell? Oh yeah, 21 different planes of
different...
hell. I see that now. Yeah, I didn't see that before.
Wow.
Lasers and time travel. So it's funny that he brings up the time travel in here because there's a playtest class that Matthew made for Barrows of Borderlands. It's called the Chronomancer. So you have these time stop powers. And what I did was I made a Chronomancer Alex Jones for the game.
Advanced gunnery rules based on bullet caliber.
Yeah, because Barrows of Borderlands introduces a black powder. I know that. So I don't know how it is with all the other games.
Dark rituals that detail lichdom, mummy creation, and more. Oh god, I can become a lich. Oh no. My necro slut tendencies.
Yeah, that's actually a shirt idea. I want like a lich, and he's got like 2 hot people by either side. It says "Liches get bitches." And then another idea, a funny one. It's called because I like the idea of lawful either. So it's going to be a lawful evil gang, but it's legs. So it's going to just have like, it's going to be like race legs, but they're shaped like that leg lamppost from Christmas Story.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Just funny idea, but here, I'll play this video for y'all. Let me see let me increase it a little bit so that way we can actually see it.
Not a sponsored stream.
Nope. I'm just only sharing this because I like the dude, and I love since I've become such a big fan of Barrows of Borderlands, of a science fantasy. It's one of my favorite genres of game to play currently. Oh, hold on, I need to switch everything around again. I just realized. Hold on. Replace screen
I
sharing.
mean, is there not a way to do the full? Is there not a way to full screen it directly on the campaign
page?
page?
I think if you were to press play, all the regular YouTube options
it didn't give me
should
the
be
option. It just gave me the play.
Oh, okay.
Broken embedded link. You know, while I'm thinking about it, this probably should have been the question I asked during the
Can y'all hear that?
during the pre-stream.
No, I can't hear
No.
anything.
No.
You might just have to share a different screen because it's still on the campaign page.
I was saying, it probably should have been a question asked during the pre-stream conversation, but since this is sort of the introductory episode to this conversation, should we have like a what'd you call it? Like everyone kind of explain their experience in the with tabletop and the tabletop community?
I think Hunter's frozen.
Yep, I think Hunter is dying over there.
Hold on, I just want to screen capture that. I want
Am I
to
back?
screen capture that.
Am I here?
face.
Yep,
Yeah.
we hear you. Yep, we hear it.
And I was able to screen capture that face of yours that was frozen. And we got another good one.
This man looking like a pixelated demon.
Jeez. All right, so yeah, not doing that again anytime soon. I figured that was going to work, but I guess not. So
that's not. But
this is what happens when you have to resort. Go ahead.
You go ahead.
I was going to say this is what happens when you have to resort to using a hotspot in an RV instead of actually having actual internet.
That'll probably do it. That'll probably do it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Did you hear my my suggestion there? My question.
I did not.
I said this is probably a question I should have asked during the pre-stream conversation, but I was going to ask since this is the introductory episode to this whole cast, should we sort of have like people explain their experience and time with both tabletop and the tabletop community?
Oh, I mean, that sounds like a good idea. I'd be completely fine doing that. Hold on, let me look at some of the comments here really quick here. Spartan saying once again, time to fight the gay frogs. I think referring to my Chronomancer Alex Jones I made for Bears of Borderlands one time.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting enemy to fight.
Marhawkman, I remember a book once for being a necromancer simply meant borrowing power from dead people to gain NP. And he keeps on going here. It utterly terrified most mages due to his sheer scale of power a necromancer could wield. And then my buddy Michael Dale hanging out in the chat with us. Great supporter of mine, good friend to a lot of us. So
as well as a Bob Jester.
Yep, Bob Jester. And then, of course, Marhawkman once again with RIP my bandwidth.
Ultra streaming from a van in your neighborhood.
Yes.
I was thinking
32 years old. I am divorced and I live in an RV down by the river.
I was about to bring that up. I
use that joke constantly.
But yeah,
all right. So
I was just gonna say I agree with Dusk that since this is like an introductory thing, it'd probably be good to like go around the table and just everybody talks about like their time with like the tabletop community and whatnot.
Yeah, and I think I think we should go oldest to youngest, which means Johnny gets to go first.
I'm overqualified for that. Yeah. So
get the bed out the way.
So the first game I ever played was Star Frontiers, and that was back. I lived in Kodiak, Alaska for a couple of years, and my best friend, his older brother, was a DM, and he had all these little, but he painted the models and the miniatures and whatnot. And I finally talked him into he ran one game of Star Frontiers. And then it was years later, I finally played one game of 1E where I borrowed the books to make like 5 or 6 characters because it was just me and this one guy who really didn't want to run the game, but I bugged him. And then it was years and years. I never got to play. I saw the cartoon. I wanted to play. It was right about the time, I guess, when it was scaring a lot of parents. So my mom was a little bit iffy about it anyway. And then finally, sometime I played a little bit I ran a couple of 2E games with in high school. And then I finally got a campaign a few years later when I just answered an ad at a gaming store and played with this buddy of mine, Bill. And he ran one game, and then his wife was giving him such hell that he couldn't run anything. So I ended up running the games. So I ran 2E for a few years, took a very long break after getting married, and just came back to it. And I decided I wanted to play 1E, but it's hard to get 1E together because it's a little more advanced, with a whole bunch more fussy little rules and whatnot. So
Wasn't that back when D&D was more of a war game than a role-playing game?
I didn't know about war games at all. I'm just learning the history of all of this. But yeah, it was, I don't know, because it's pretty loose. 1E, 1E has a lot of rules, but when they actually start playing, the guys are really making a whole lot of rulings. There's some guys that know the rules inside and out, and they can really run it. And run it, almost rules is written, but you have to do stuff on the fly. I think 4E is the one that has a whole bunch of like your combat facing matters and whatnot.
Yeah.
Is that one of them?
Yeah. There's a lot of there's a lot of tactical play with positioning and facing and shit.
Yeah.
Flanking.
And I think that I played that at NTRPG. I played something like that. It was either 4E or maybe it was Fantasy Trip, but our facing mattered, and the guy did a great job. It was fun, and we could we kind of got a feel for it because he was a very good DM. But now I've got the old Holmes box set. I bought one of those, and I've run a few games of that at the pub where my daughter works. So it lends itself to that. But that's my experience. I've run there's tons of other little games that I've run once or twice just to run them.
I had
but that's my
a couple. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. I had a couple that I'm friends with. They actually for Artocraft they made copies of the old school original booklets. So I got like the first 3 booklets, a reference sheet, and then 3rd edition chainmail.
Man, they did a nice job on that too.
Yeah, they made all these themselves just for Arts and Craft Parks, and now I'm like, okay, now that you gave me these, now I want you to make the other supplements that they made. So I want Blackmoor, I want Greyhawk, I want the Eldritch Sorcery.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of those sitting on my little eBay watch list. I keep looking at them and trying to justify buying them because I like having the old stuff. I like having an old book that has somebody else's name in it. I like seeing the history of that.
I like buying books in case the EMP ever decides to hit.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I've got far too many on a Kindle, and Umberto Eco. If y'all are familiar with that author, he said get as many books as you can afford, whether you're going to read them or not. Don't worry about your unread book pile because you'll be able to reference them. And I've taken his advice to heart.
Yep. And so moving on. Oh, hold on. Let me read what Bob Jester just put here in the chat. He's got a good one here. If it'll. We used minis when we had them, but we never plotted every move in combat on a battle mat. We mapped on 4 quarter-inch squares, inch graph paper. Our plotting were pencil dots on the map we made. So yeah, I don't do miniatures or that often. Oh, sorry, Gusto, go ahead.
I was saying just always make use of what you got.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Roger, you're up next. Tell us about yourself.
Okay, well, I'm probably the least experienced out of all of you. I've always wanted to delve into just tabletop games in general, but I've only just gotten started within the last year. Like literally the very first thing that I've ever participated in is the One Piece game that I am currently running. So I delved into it already, just DMing a game and all that.
Okay, so we have the vet and the newbie already.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
but yeah, like I said, I've been very much enjoying it and everything, and just seeing like how some of the stuff has evolved, seeing like how things have escalated up to the point where, especially with Dungeons and Dragons, to where like you got like that new 5.5 edition and all that, where essentially there are no like evil classes or races and whatnot. That whole entire BS argument of if you see like the orcs, those are the representation of black people and all that. It's like, what the fuck are you talking
now they're
about?
Mexicans. Now they're Mexicans.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to bring that up too, with the
And like,
newest art they did.
and like a buddy of mine, Chaser, he was in it for a long time. He was in it for like 10 plus years. He was playing it. Like his favorite method is like what did he say? 3.5 Pathfinder, where like if you got like orcs and all that, they are like legit monsters and whatnot. It's like that's what I want. Like you want your fantasy story to actual have like the fantastical elements and whatnot. You don't want to see any of the 2024 2025 modern day political nonsense into your games. It's just like there's a reason why we're wanting to play fantasies, because it's fantasy. We want our escapism, and that's one of the things that I liked about the whole idea of tabletop is just the pure escapism of it all.
Yeah, exactly. That was kind of the reason why I'm so focused on whenever someone brings up like your games need to be like realistic, I just sit there and I'm just thinking, no, I don't want realistic. I want fantastical.
Exactly. And it's like and one other thing is that I also just enjoy coming up with like the story concepts and everything. Like literally I was talking to my girlfriend about it, and she is a big fan of the Overlord anime, and she was talking about if we could like do like a campaign like that. It's like, I don't know how that would work. And then I started thinking about it's like, wait a second, there is actually a way we can do it. It'd be adjacent to it, where instead of like the traditional races and everything, you can go into the Volo something book and everything, where it introduces playable monster races. All the player characters will pick a monster race to play as, where you all serve a Lich King and taking over like human kingdoms and whatnot.
That actually sounds like it would be fun to play, because
That sounds fun.
because at that point that's an evil campaign that could work, because you're playing as like the actual bad guys.
Exactly.
Evil campaigns are always sound like a fun idea to me, but no one ever wants to commit to it.
Yeah.
And then I know and like I love the idea where it's like you make your characters and then your DM takes them from you, and then he just gives you like random monsters for you to play as while he throws the characters you made against you all.
That sounds like a great gimmick.
Like the players that they initially pick as the humans will be like the final like hero party that you face off against.
The chosen one hero party main characters.
I love that idea so much now.
Yeah. And then I had a thought and I just lost it. So we'll go ahead and Deskquill. Point that way, because that's where you are on my screen.
Oh yeah, Volo's got the monsters. That's what Bob Jester said in the comments. Thank you.
Yeah.
Warhawk Man also said he personally think it's fun to have getting forced to serve the big bad as a plot device.
Oh yeah, especially if you got like the one of the reasons I like Lawful Evil is not because you're technically playing like straight up like an evil bad guy, but it's more about the fact of you're lawful evil because you do have a code you're following, but it's a means to an end. You're doing everything for your own benefits. Yeah. Which is why I like lawful evil more than chaotic evil. Chaotic evil, you're just all over the place. Given I'm currently playing in a Bears of Orleans game, a kobold, like an actual old school kobold, where it's dog-like, not reptile-like, where he is very much like, my name is Grick, and I'm going to slaughter everything! Ah! That's my chaotic evil kobold. So
you were just sounding like one of the damn Wicked Witch of the West's flying monkeys.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, Deskquill, tell us about yourself now, your kind of experience and all that.
Well, I've played tabletop games early on. One of my first ones, before I was even a teenager, was World of Darkness, Vampire the Masquerade. And then I later got into Call of Cthulhu, and then finally into Dungeons and Dragons in high school, because that's the only thing kids there wanted to play. And after I graduated high school, I started getting I mostly really got into indie tabletop, so much so that I wouldn't recommend looking these up because I was using a laptop microphone, so sound quality is absolute dog shit. But before I joined the army, I did a monthly showcase and interview show of indie tabletop creators and the products that they made. I made great friends there. Got a lot of horror stories from those creators when they went to like cons trying to like advertise their stuff. But and if anyone is watching is familiar when Trench Crusade came up and had their kerfuffles with Discord and political stuff, I actually found it. I don't run anymore because the game just was no longer worth it, but I found it the biggest fan community Discord for Trench Crusade, the Trench Waterhole. I believe that's still actually very healthy at the moment.
Yeah, because that's how me and Duskull first met, because I saw Trench Crusade popping up my timeline. I'm like, oh, the church versus the demons basically is what it was. It got my attention, and then we all started seeing like the wokeness coming out from the people who made that. And I was actually originally one of the first mods for that server because I was like all in with wanting to get the star because I believed in the game. And then eventually it got into, there was, at least at first, there was a lot of infighting that started happening in that server as well. With just how
definitely.
like there were a couple other mods at one point that were on quite a bit of a power trip at one point. And that was that. And then the game was like, I just got lost interest in the game after a while. I'm just like, yeah, I'm done. You guys enjoy it yourselves. I'm glad I got to help start this up at least. So
Yeah. I just wanted to found it. I'm not sure if I wasn't even sold on like continuing running it, but now I'm also in the middle of developing a couple of my own tabletop games. One a RPG, another a war game. Oh yeah, and I was also very much into Warhammer tabletop fantasy. I did quite a bit of both second and third edition, and I was also in the 40K war game. My first army was Blood Angels. Lost them during a move from Louisiana to Mississippi, and now I'm very much interested, as you can see with my PFP, into the Leagues of Votann. Yeah. That's been my experiences and contributions.
And then I've shared my story about how I got in like hundreds of times, but just so kind of like the Cliff Notes version of it was, I didn't get into the hobby until 2019 when COVID started. I started with Powered by the Apocalypse game system called City of Mist. And I played that for like several years, ran games. I was basically the forever GM because no one was running the games. So I ran them myself. And then I decided, well, yeah. And then I found, but it's also one of those things where it's like, I knew like you can't just run everything with one system. So I decided to start exploring other games. And eventually I somehow got sent down the OSR rabbit hole. And now I'm considered like bro SR adjacent is I guess the term for me now. Cause I don't agree with everything they say, but it's like, I have like a lot of those OSR kind of beliefs I do with even in the 5e game. There's very much OSR mentality I'm still using when I play that, because I almost killed the party with like 5 zombies like first session. So, and then Patty's Parlor is here in the chat. He made and he is actually one of the artists that I had. He made this awesome tabletop frontline logo. That's on my coffee mug, and I have shirts as well. So very much the sword through the wizard hat and the dragon head. So basically a nod to how much of a cultural death D&D has now suffered, I think, in recent years. So, because that's the thing, it's like people can still play it, but the cultural effect that game has is not as powerful as it once was. I don't know if you, yeah. I said some hesitancy in there, so I'm interested to hear what your guys' thoughts are about that. When I say D&D is like a culturally dead,
I could go like on a whole rant myself about how I think we kind of gotten to this point in time, not just in tabletop, but just like fictional media in general with modern day politics, because that's like a whole different beast entirely. But as I could go on a whole rant about how I believe we got to this point with it.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree too. I mean, I'm the Ultra Mega Teacher RPGer. The whole reason that came to be was because the modern politics getting shoved into media, tabletop, all that jazz. And
Mhm.
Well,
so,
it's not just that. I can give you the big prime example on why it seems to have gone downhill very significantly. Critical Role.
one of the many, yes, I agree with
I would say Critical Role
that
is
definitely.
a contributing factor.
Exactly, because it's due to the fact is that it made it made tabletop, but more specifically Dungeons and Dragons, too popular. It got to the point where it's like the same thing with like modern day anime and all that, where again, going back to like the COVID era where a bunch of people just started watching it because they had nothing else to do. They just got into it, and the same people that used to bully, ridicule us and everything is like, oh, you watch anime, you nerd. Oh, you play Dungeons and Dragons, you nerd. We're gonna shove you in a locker and all that other stupid bullshit. And it's these same people that used to make fun of us are now delving into our hobbies and whatnot,
Probably
and
got their
are
favorite actors
actively
do it too.
exactly, and are actively changing it from the inside. And now they're getting onto us as like, why don't you accept it now and whatnot? It's like, because you all ruined it. You're all ruining our
If
entertainment.
if I could potentially like go into I'm trying to make it like too long as I could make this like a whole like hours long rant about how I believe it went down. You want to say something, Hunter?
I was gonna say I would definitely like to hear Johnny's opinion about this because again he saw the pendulum swing one way with the Satanic Panic, and now basically we're kind of now seeing it swing back the other way as well with what's kind of curring on. So I feel like we're slowly kind of going back towards the middle, but I mean, what's the off chance that the pendulum will just swing the other way as well? So I want to hear like definitely your thoughts, Johnny, as given that you've seen a lot of this stuff over the years.
So yeah, I'm writing down because I'm listening to what you were just saying, Mr. Roger.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure about it. I have never watched Critical Role. I've watched commentary on Critical Role, and
Mhm.
I think that's actually that might be listening to you. That might be the thing that provides the insight to this. I think it's gone with so many people watching the game being played and watching personalities in there, especially celebrities, and then people become celebrities. Rather than focusing on playing the game, they're focusing on the personalities who are playing the game. They're focusing not on the game itself, but on trying
Yeah.
to emulate those people while being in the game. And I don't know how that plays into
Focus
the
on the
politics of it.
face, not the structure.
Yeah. So it's more the lifestyle rather than the game itself. What is it that how do people who play this game act? And unfortunately, I think a lot of it comes into that they become that kind of that twee kind of crap. You know, it focuses on the kitsch of the game. So you get accoutrements, you get ornaments, you get more I'm losing my whole train of thought there. It's more of a
You more
costume.
focus on the pretty details and decals and ornaments rather than the actual like meat and potatoes of what makes it the thing.
Yeah, I think the aesthetic that like there's a certain aesthetic with Warhammer. When I see those guys, you know, kind of they're together. They've got the culture develops along with the playing of the game. And there's a culture, and they're not playing the game. It's different.
Bob Jester in the YouTube
Oh,
chat
that
kind of brings up a thing that I would have touched upon with my rant, and that be self-insertion has replaced role assumption in the rules.
Oh, my Tony Garcia joined us in the chat. I actually interviewed him not too long ago. He creates this post-apocalyptic Earth game called Dystopian Dawn. That's actually really cool, and I've playtested a lot of his material for it.
Nice.
So if you haven't seen that video, it's like a couple weeks old. Go check it out on my channel. So
But yeah, like Bob Jester also you pulled up the comment earlier about the Critical Role opened the floodgates to normies who never understood geek slash nerd culture, and now it's hip and cool. It's like I want to go back to the time where we got ridiculed for liking this stuff because it was our thing. It wasn't just a cool thing to do just because everybody's doing it.
There's
like
something to that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say that, and it's the same thing, just literally with everything that is related to pop culture. That's one of the big reasons over whenever I get my channel started back up with a Country Time Pop, it's just going over things like pop culture and all that, and how it's been taken over by these types of people. And we need to go back to a time where these entertainment industries need to stop catering to these people that had never cared about the entertainment media and what medium and whatnot, and go back to actually catering to the actual fans, because all you're going to do is just plummet it down to where these people that never were interested in it are going to lose favor for it because it might not be popular, and you've already lost your old fan base because you kept catering to this new group of people. Then you'll have nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And also another factor that played a lot. This also doesn't help that that because they had that 50, it was like the 50-year anniversary book. Despite they still want to keep on trashing Gary Gygax, Dave Arneson, all the old guard.
Exactly.
Rob Kuntz and Griff are like the only two of that original guard that are still around. And once they're gone, that's it. They're not going to be able to make their voices heard and defend themselves anymore. So that's why people like, and I know there's another Kickstarter I backed. There's actually a guy that's working on also like a History of Dungeons and Dragons, but it's more of actually like giving recognition to the people that made it and not trashing them like WotC has been doing for like years now. Oh, I like this. Let me bring up Tony's comment that he just made. Voice actors create a false view of RPGs and brought in people who don't game. They just inject their issues and fetishes into our beloved escapism hobby. Yeah, and I see that a lot on Drive-Thru RPG because it's interesting that because I follow the Red Room. So if you guys don't know who that are, they create the Wretched RPG, very much anti-hero based system, but they don't hold back from anything either. So when they created a satirical RPG called Men, where it was all about being the strongest, toughest, horniest man, Drive-Thru RPG kicked them off for that.
Wow.
But yet they allowed the 5e supplement kinks and cantrips. Yep. Perfectly okay to have that on their platform.
No.
And I actually read through the PDF. It's as disturbing as it sounds.
So with my thing, and this kind of goes multi-stage when it comes to with what I'm recognizing when it comes to our modern culture, is that if there's one thing you can basically describe a lot of modern generations, is that I would say from millennials onwards. Do y'all know the actor James Dean, the Rebel Without a Cause?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, every generation from millennials onwards, we all kind of just became rebels without causes. Like, we have gotten so advanced that, while yes, there are issues that can be addressed, there's no grand, like, existential crisis or a situation that people can't really, like, unify under towards solving. And because of a lack of that, a lot of people leave lives that don't really have a good, like, overarching cultural goal to attain. And thus, you just got a bunch of lost people that want to do good in the world. They kind of feel like they've got a bad deal, and they really have no idea what the hell to actually do. They want to be rebels. They want to fight the good fight, but they got no good fight to fight with. So they kind of just make their own things and create their own cliques about what they believe is the good fight. And even coming from me, a guy who's very much a anti-religious, atheist, liberal, if you want to attach labels to shit. But we kind of don't have that guy towards that grand goal. And thus, a lot of things that would be attributed to religion would get replaced with, the common communism, fascism thing of replacing the religion with the state, coming under charismatic cults of personality faces that you go toward because they seem like they're good. And then the advent of social media where it's like less people talking with one another and more like sociopaths trying to sociopaths trying to pass each other off as regular people trying to make their own sociopathy normal when that's not really going to work. And just their own politics and their own sexualities sort of taking over their own what would be considered like personality traits and becoming more their core identity. So any attack on them, their politics, their sexuality, whatever, is a personal attack to them. It's a personal violence towards them.
Yeah.
And then you escalate this to its natural conclusion where now these is the new generation, all the old, more established, self-made people that helped create what we have today, the cultures, the media, all that stuff. They're getting replaced by this new generation that has no like lighthouse goal to aspire to. They want to do their own things. They're all artists. They're all rebels. They want to have their own voices heard and said. And they come into the art fields, the media fields, where they want to contribute something themselves. They could have like a good thing. They might want to do their own thing that could actually have some valid weight to it. But we're also in mass corporate media where the corporations, they only care about money. They don't want to risk new IPs. They want to risk new titles. They want to keep the legacy titles going, but all the legacy people are gone. They're retired, dead, canceled, whatever. And so now you got these new blood. They're like, okay, we'll just have y'all work on the legacy titles, but they don't want to work on the legacy titles. They want to do their own thing. So now we have this thing where you got people that want to do their own thing, but they're not allowed to. They have to work on the legacy titles, and they're bitter about that. They hate it. They're being denied their own voice. They've got to prop up old people's voices who they already feel failed them in many various ways. So now we just live in a time where, we're all do postmodern, we're going to do deconstruction, but the whole point with deconstruction is that, yeah, you deconstruct the thing, but then you reconstruct. But they don't want to bother reconstructing the old shit. They just want to tear it down. They want to make their voices heard by tearing down these constant ideas that they are, quote unquote, enslaved to. And they don't want to build it back up. They just want to just tear down. And this is just permeates all through comic books, video games, tabletop, movies, TV shows, cartoons. It just becomes a whole thing where it's a self-destructive cycle because they don't see themselves having a way out until the point of time where the corporations are like, okay, you've been working with us for a while. You produce results. You made deadlines. They don't care about the profit because, like, at this point, all they got is a new guy. So whatever money they make, whatever money they make. If they lose money, they lose money, and they'll just like tear down shit. But if something survives, they'll look at the people that's tearing stuff down and go, okay, you've been with us. You made the deadlines. You're reliable. Now you get to make your own stuff. It's like at this point in time, they're able to do the things they want to do. They're able to make their own thing, but they spent so much time tearing stuff down and working on legacy titles. They kind of forgot how to create. They've been so busy deconstructing and being enslaved to legacy titles that they just forget how to even do their own stuff. And when they present the opportunity, they just fumble. They just completely drop the bag. It's just and then another key problem I would say is also with the consumers as well, because instead of doing what we should be doing, where we take every IP at base value, regardless of who works on it, who hasn't worked on it, we just go, oh, you made this new thing, but you worked on these two things I loved and destroyed it, so fuck your new title. And then the new stuff fumbles, and now they're back to the legacy titles. It's just a whole self-destructive thing, and that's why I feel we're going as a culture where we're on self-destruction. And it just permeates everything. I don't know if everyone else agrees with that, but that's just sort of what I've been noticing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, because I want us to try to move on to like the next little part of the section, because The idea is we want to go at least maybe hour and a half, so we're definitely going to try to push for that hour and a half mark today because there's still some more things I want to talk about. But Johnny and Roger, is there any final thoughts you want to share with regards to what Dust said before we continue?
I think
I was going to say I'll let Johnny go first.
Sorry. I think one of the problems with creating stuff is if you're a painter, I'm not a painter, but my mother-in-law is. And one of her big problems is figuring out when that painting is done.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact of the matter is that role-playing games were done and reached the pinnacle with AD&D 1E. But I'm just saying. No, in all seriousness, what you were saying, I'm trying to relate it there. You're in the military, Dusk, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You have superiors who are not focused on the mission; they're focused on their own ego. They're focused on their own paths, right? And that's what I think it's harder to discern with art. But I don't think they're focused on the art or the games. I think they're focused on themselves and transmitting themselves and all their own little personal things. And I'm not saying that anyone can fall to that, but I think there's definitely something to what you were saying. That was well thought out.
Mm-hmm.
That's me.
And basically what I just want to add to it is that, yes, the whole entire thing of you having these people who are being forced to work on the old titles because these companies don't want to invest into new IPs and whatnot, and you got them who don't have a understanding of what made like these IPs, these characters great. Like you got people working on Superman who don't not understand Superman as a character, so that's why those comics always tend to fail. But I will say, despite everything, I will say that I actually have more respect for like the ones that do make like their own stuff, despite it personally not being for me. Like, for instance, I cannot stand that what was it, Has Been Hotel and everything. Yeah. But my girlfriend, she enjoys it, and I say it's like, let her have it and whatnot. That's a whole new thing. I have more respect for Vivzy Pop, who made it, because at least she's making her own stuff and everything. Like if you
actually
go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just had a thought.
That was pretty much my whole entire thing, is that I have more respect for the people that I don't align with politically for creating their own stuff than bastardizing our stuff.
So you bring up Superman actually brought up something that I saw recently. So there was a fan animation that someone made. There's a comic strip where this goth kid is about to unalive himself. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Superman appears behind him and just tries to reassure him and tell him like everything's all right. It's not always that difficult as it may seem. And someone commented under that post I saw on X says, and I thought this actually made a lot of sense to me when I read it. Injustice really destroyed the image of Superman. Yep. I think. And because when I look at it, because we all I mean, there's nothing wrong with the idea of what if the Superman
was evil,
goes past his morals and his evil. Like, I love the Injustice storyline. I thought it was great. But ever since then, have we ever, it's like, I feel like that really changed a lot of like how we see Superman in like modern comics, even some of the animated stuff. Like, he was supposed to be about truth, justice, and the American way. Mm-hmm. And even they got rid of the American way in one of his storylines at one point.
Yeah, true justice and a better tomorrow. But it
was supposed to be.
But yeah, and that's just the thing, is that not just with Injustice, but also just the idea of just the evil Superman variant as well, where we just see so many of them, and like any kind of like a superhero genre stuff.
But Invincible's not a bad show either. It's not a bad comic either. Same with The Boys. It's not completely horrible.
But when people see like the Superman equivalent character of that is the only version that they consume, they're not going to know how to comprehend when it comes to the actual big blue Boy Scout. Because like
the whole
that's
appeal,
a fair point.
The whole appeal of Superman is that he is like a universal threat stopper that still has street level superhero priorities.
It's like one of my favorite versions of Superman. Whenever they do like his origin story and whatnot, I prefer it whenever Pa Kent dies of like cancer or something, because it allows Clark to come to the realization, it's like, I have all these fantastical powers and everything where I can do essentially anything that I want, but there are just some things that are completely out of my control. That's why I'm going to use my powers to do what I can to help.
Yeah, like in the very first original Superman movie where where he's like an adult and they're playing, and Pa Kent has a heart attack right that he could
Exactly.
do to save him.
Exactly. And that's how they open up like a Superman and Lois, is with that whole entire concept. Yet you got like the people who only watch like the Man of Steel movie and saying like, no, don't save me from the tornado, Clark.
Yeah. No, that was actually not bad. Like I didn't hate Man of Steel. I thought it was a decent. Again, it's not that this product is bad, but I get your point. I get what you're trying to reach it, but I still have to admit,
like,
it's like credit where credit is due. If a product is good, a product is good, even if we don't agree with everything.
The Pa Kent dying scene and that is just absolutely stupid and ridiculous.
And I did like what Tony just said here. Comics book were infiltrated by people projecting with zero respect for source content, because, and this will tie into what we're about to talk about next. There was the True Doesn't Make Away is how it should have stayed. Sorry, I meant to get rid of it. With the new comic book writer for Red Hood, when she got fired because of what she said about Charlie Kirk. Now, one of the things I really liked about Red Hood was basically what every fan thought, kind of like about what was going on with Batman and the Joker. Joker kept escaping, kept killing people. Batman still would not go the extra mile to make sure that he stopped it for good. And that's why Red Hood came to be. Red Hood was supposed to be kind of like that anti-hero opposite of Batman. Because Red Hood's like, hey, these are criminals. Why are we not just making sure they don't stop like for good? Nothing we're doing is working.
Even Red Hood wasn't, you fucking jaywalk, kill the motherfuckers. Like, no, there's just genuine mass serial killers that will never change. Why are we still trying to capture them?
I think it's, if anybody's ever watched the animated Batman Under the Red Hood movie,
my favorite.
It tells that story flawlessly, where Jason, aka Red Hood, he puts Batman in an ultimatum of you need to shoot him or whatnot, and it's like Batman won't do it. And he's like, why won't do it? Is your moral code just won't allow you? And Batman just says like, no, because it'd be too damn easy, because there's nothing that he'd want to do more than to end the Joker. But if he crosses that line, it'll pretty much make it to where, why don't I just do this for every criminal and whatnot? It's supposed to be, the thing is like, you cannot allow yourself to cross that line when it need to be, to where you need to still go ahead.
And then another 100 kids dead from eating poison cotton candy.
But this is why I think Punisher was really good for a Marvel hero, because he wasn't just killing. Punisher wasn't just killing everyone willy-nilly. He was going after the mobsters, murderers, like basically serial rapists and all that. Punisher was going after like the truest evil of evil. He wasn't just like someone robbed a bank. Unless that person was like an absolute threat to the people in that bank, he wasn't just trying to kill them outright. He was trying to still stop them. But it's like if you're gonna. But Punisher was like, hey, Second Amendment right. If you pull a gun on me, you're not gonna see the next day, basically. So. Yeah, and then Tony just absolutely does not like Jason Todd at all, because the funny part is, remember, people voted for Jason Todd to die in the original comic book running of the story.
Yeah.
So, but that brings up, because we're talking about, the Red Hood artist getting fired because what she said for Charlie Kirk brings into kind of like the last segment of the show. Because again, we talk about RPGs, video games, if we have stuff to talk about it, but also we talk about a little bit of politics here and there as well, as you've heard already throughout. And usually it will be like I'm thinking like it'll be like a major event that happened this week, or maybe we'll just pick a random topic about what we agree or disagree on. But for this, I'm basically going to talk about. We're going to be discussing why this show now exists. Because again, 3 weeks ago now, almost, Charlie Kirk, in front of a crowd of people, just doing a normal, decent, friendly debate with anyone who wanted to, was shot in the neck. He was assassinated. There's no other way to describe it. Charlie Kirk was assassinated in front of a huge crowd. And the idea was they were trying to silence him, basically. They were trying to scare us, get us to be quiet, because because here's the thing. There are many different versions of like right-leaning belief system, because like I'll use a term that someone used on me in a video I discussed. See, I was called alt-right by a hater on YouTube.
Okay.
I was called alt-right because I dared to go by an ultra-American TTRPG. Oh, how dare I, basically. And you have many different versions of right-leaning belief systems. And we're also like, and there's actually been studies about this. We're also like the more diverse. I have to disagree. The left is all the same now that I look at it. Like the left and the Democrats very much are like, this is what we believe in, and if you dare deviate from us, you're not a part of us anymore. And they have proven that over and over again with eating their own. Because I'm thinking like the commie Grim Jim, who has been canceled on like both sides of the aisle now because he doesn't know when to shut up and watch his mouth with some of his stuff, because he makes great content. I'll give him credit for that. But he didn't like it when the left canceled him, but yet he can't stop pissing people off enough on either side, because he also had a very bad take about Charlie Kirk as well. And that was like, because I'm at the point now where it's like, I'm not going to tolerate that anymore. Gatekeeping is good. And these kind of people, there needs to be like examples need to be set now for the hobby, I think.
Well, we are starting to see that when it comes to some things where people like that writer for Red Hood, after making those statements about Charlie and whatnot, literally on the day it happened, and especially on the day that the comic released, was fired literally the next day.
Thousands must lose their jobs.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but
they were completely fine with they were completely fine with us people losing our jobs, all because we didn't want to use their proper pronouns, or we didn't want to get the vaccine because there wasn't enough testing or scientific evidence behind it. But yet, when we call them out,
someone wants to fucking homeschool.
Yeah, but Lord forbid we call them out for cheering about someone being killed. They get held accountable for it, and companies are like, "No, you're not the kind of person we want here for our company." Because I no longer call myself a free speech absolutist anymore because of all this. It's like you have the right to say whatever you want, but consequences come with action sometimes.
Exactly. Freedom of speech doesn't equal freedom from consequences.
Their age-old favorite saying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But one thing I'll just say to you, Hunter, is that we actually do see that there are some leftists who do condemn over those actions and everything. For example, if anybody watches Shoe on Head,
yep,
she is
love her.
She is an old school Bernie Sanders girl whose latest video is just going over the fact that you got like these people who call themselves leftists and everything, the same side of the political spectrum that she is on, and yet she is seeing all these people cheering and whatnot over what happened. She is seeing people that she was friends with for years, people that she's known cheering about it, and it's making her question things and whatnot. And another example is like my girlfriend. She is a little bit more, she's more left-leaning than I am when it comes to stuff, but she told me that she found it absolutely appalling that there are people that are out there cheering over what happened to Charlie Kirk.
You want another big name leftist that also talks against all this shit. It's also like, I wear opinions of one of them, but also Asmongold.
Yeah,
like the guy is definitely a fucking leftist, but
yeah, Asmongold and Shoe on Head are what the phrase would be classic liberal. So these are like
I'm,
your
I'm a
90s,
I'm a
maybe.
classic liberal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like early late 90s, maybe early 2000s Democratic Party before like it all went before Obama basically got elected at this point, because it was, at least for me, during Obama's second term is when I really saw all this start taking off.
Yeah, because like, yeah, the same thing can be said about my girlfriend. She is not a fan of Trump at all, but her ideals and everything are more on the lines of being classical liberal and everything.
Yeah, you can disagree with Trump's actions, behavior all you want. I'm perfectly okay with that, but we've seen the difference between when Obama was in office versus when Trump was in office, and then when Biden was in office versus now with Trump back in office.
Yeah,
It's night and day comparing the two.
exactly.
I say I was like one of the first people on X back when it was still Twitter that said, "Oh, y'all want to keep calling Trump fascist and all this stuff," but yeah, y'all seem to forget that at one point in time, Trump was like the biggest financial supporter for the Clintons.
Yeah, and like Mr. Hawk or Mar Hockman and over on Rumble said, Trump was a classic liberal at one point.
I think it was, he was a Democrat. He voted Democrat, and he had a lot of those
Exactly.
policies. And then, but it's like there's nothing wrong with being like a liberal or a Democrat. It's what it's become now that I see a lot of the issue with.
And that's where I would say is that I would make the distinction of like liberals and Democrats, to where when you're seeing like these people, these are just like the very far left lunatics that have drastically changed and everything. That's why you keep seeing like those images of like somebody that is classical liberal and then somebody on the left and right. The left keeps going further, and that classic liberal keeps on going more towards the middle, to where they're now considered very far right to these people's eyes.
I don't even call like modern liberals. They're sociopathic, extremist authoritarians masquerading as liberals to just soften their image to subvert people into their line of thinking.
I just call them like how I see them that were cheering for Charlie's assassination, literal demons, because that's what they are.
Johnny, I'm trying to get you to speak up because I know you've been pretty quiet. So, what are your thoughts?
A little bit. So, listening to y'all, I think that I kind of call them progressives because they are progressives, and progressives, they found a way, a lot of these guys, to live on the philosophical or the political equivalent of a war economy. So you get a war economy, and suddenly you've got massive price controls, you've got quotas, you've got, this rampant, you get nationalism that's destructive rather than creative. There are two things that can happen when people panic. They can all turn on each other, which sometimes happens, and they try to survive, or they form a cohesive unit. To me, listening to y'all talk, it seems like a lot of these leftists, the ones that and I'm not even sure leftist is the right, you can get lost in debating all of that, but these fellas, these progressives, they have found a way to harness that panic, and everything is an enemy, and they unite. And the slightest deviation, you see them to turn on somebody who's really pretty much on their side, just they say something slightly off. I've seen some people turning on Emma Watson because I think that's her name from Harry Potter, because she kind of showed a little bit of respect to J.K. Rowling. Now, mind you, I think that previous videos of Emma Watson saying, "Oh yeah, I'd feel comfortable with you in the bathroom," they look to me like hostage videos. They're so afraid of deviating even slightly there, but that's always been the focus of progressivism. If you look back when the progressives were supposedly, they're helping with civil rights, but what they wanted is they wanted black people to act like white people. They had a whole, "Oh, you can't drink, you can't, we don't want you dancing like this. We want you to be productive members and work and have a 9-to-5 job." And Thaddeus Russell covers a lot of that. This is what happens. I go, there's so much information, and I'm very, I go off the rails and I go down these rabbit trails. But I think to say it short, they harness that panic, and they're on a war footing. They really feel like everything is an existential threat. You cannot deviate,
Yeah.
and that's very dangerous.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. I was going to say, because we saw when they did the Charlie Kirk Memorial, leftists were coming out, especially I saw Destiny was the one that said it, the fucker he is, trying to say that the Kirk Memorial was like a Nazi rally. And now I'm thinking, okay, if we're going to go that route, then all the BLM riots were the equivalent of Kristallnacht then, if we're going to go that route. Because for those who aren't familiar with their World War II history, Kristallnacht was all the Nazi brown shirts going out and basically just destroying shops and homes, trying to route up the Jews to send them off to the concentration camps. How different was that when we see the BLM riots, how they just burned down and destroyed cities?
Exactly.
Well, that's one of the things that happens when you spill over riots. Like, I'm in Houston, all right, and I went to 2 different police brutality protests. I went to one for Breonna that was mostly focused on Breonna Taylor, and I went to another one that happened from there was a raid that some of the cops actually ended up going to jail, but there was a raid where they murdered 2 people and killed their dog. And I went to those, and they were both, one of them was town hall kind of thing, and then the Breonna Taylor one was people did speeches, people talked, they did people do chants. I don't join in on chants. It hijacks your brain. It's a dangerous thing to be in a crowd doing a chant. But then everyone went home. Everybody walked back to their cars normal. These places where the riots happened were already pretty fraught with admittedly some of it pretty screwed up. The local constabulary being off the chain with some of their enforcement procedures. Mind you, most of those were in blue areas. Oddly enough, the authoritarianism doesn't seem to be cured by all of the we're all equal speech. But what we didn't see here in Houston was it devolve into riots. We've had a couple of people blocking roads and whatnot, and some of the latest stuff went a little bit off the chain. But there are people who see that and will go to that and focus on that. And there was a lot of chaos in the BLM stuff. The official BLM people are Marxists and totalitarians and lunatics, but there's other people, for them it was just hey, we want to be peaceful. Those people were in those groups, but you had agents of chaos who just went there to destroy stuff. What's odd is that with conservative protests, I don't see those agents of chaos getting the same foothold. And I don't know that I have a grip on the difference between these 2 groups. If you want to term them left, right, that's fine. But I don't understand how the truly bad actors, and I'm not talking about the people running their mouths. Everybody runs their mouth. These people, they're cheering on Charlie Kirk's death, but they're not going to be a real danger. Their words present some danger because, as I said, joining into chants hijacks your mind. But how did they get that foothold? I know January 6th, some stuff got broken, but nothing approaching what we saw during the riots.
Well, I wouldn't. People that try to say January 6th was an insurrection, like people were trying to go in and overthrow the government, which all they did was just walk around. And yes, there were some bad faith actors that did break stuff and did do things they shouldn't have done. But that was the exception, not the rule, though.
Then the FBI just came out and said that they infiltrated agents into the J6.
Yep, like Mark Hockman just now commented on Rumble here.
Yeah. If you have KKK members in a room, 2 of them are FBI agents. That's kind of the general rule. If
you were to ask me, I'm pretty sure like 95%. I'm pretty sure 95% of the KKK are all FBI, CIA.
They very rapidly will join as informants too. These are not these people who join these groups like this. They're not decent people. There's there are ones on the fringes, but they got a criminal mindset, and there is, as the little comic says in the first edition Dungeon Master's Guide, there is no honor among thieves. They will turn on each other. They're rats. So yeah, a lot of them aren't necessarily agents, but they are informants. And what
I think,
bothers me is
I think a couple of things that the right has over the left when it comes to not having bad actors at their you still get like some of them, but it's not like a whole lot of it. But I think what gets them the one over on leftists when it comes to not having bad actors acting out is for the fact, well, for one, right wingers have a lot better vetting process. Like they actually self-police. The left doesn't really do self-policing all that well, even though it's something to do with how much they eat each other, but that's not really self-policing. That's just looking at someone not as pure as you and lynching them. But the right definitely has better methods of self-policing. They're a lot more willing to call each other out respectfully and disassociate people in well-mannered ways to keep themselves like on track. They got a lot better goals. And though it may take a lot for them to want to start like mass events, a lot of the mass events that they do aren't as inherently violent as left events. They're not really raging against anything. They just go to places, make their voices heard, do a memorial service, and that's really about it. They kind of just show up, say or do their thing, and then they go away. Leftists, they want to stick around. They want to have a message. They want to do a grand thing to do their performance. They want to make a whole spectacle art piece about what they're trying to do. And that creates prime opportunities for opportunists.
So I remember, I don't know if y'all seen one of the clips from one of these leftist people. She traded this post where it's like trying to say that Charlie Kirk's death will mean nothing. He will never be a martyr. This is going to go nowhere. And we've seen that. And it's like, just think of how fast that aged poorly, because record number of TP USA, at least requests to start those up on various campuses. Many people just kind of speaking up. I saw it's actually interesting. I saw people say, I used to be Democrat. I've now left because of this, and the whole thing about Charlie Kirk's death, it wasn't just, it didn't change. Sorry. Let me get my words together here. It didn't just change things politically. It also changed things spiritually as well. Because I saw as well, speaking from the Christian I am a Bible-believing Christian. I'm not perfect, but I'm a Bible-believing Christian nonetheless. And I saw as thousands of people basically cried out in pain, fear, and decided to go either for the first time ever or the first time in a long time, go back to the church. And I saw as many of the American churches failed the flock, basically. They either mentioned nothing about it, or it was just a blip and they continued on with the sermon as it's saying nothing else about it. There were a few other churches I now see that have basically spoken up, like Charlie Kirk stood for these values, and we as the Christ-based church should also be representing of these values. And here's the thing: there was a fire that lit, and it has not died down yet, because it has not died down in me. It has not died down in like thousands of others. People are now being more active than ever in regards to this. Hence why I made this show. Hence why this is now a thing. Because I wanted moderate and conservative voices that are part of this RPG hobby to be able to come on here and express their beliefs and their own thoughts and opinions without worrying, without having to be fear. Now, given I now have this fear of, because Charlie Kirk was only a year younger than me, there's a possible chance that if I go to a con at some point, like if I ever made myself go to Gen Con one time and the wrong person recognizes me, that my life could now be in danger. Which I'm more than willing to have that target on my back, though, even though I'm scared about to have it. I am more than willing now to have this target on my back because what I said because I started posting a lot of stuff on Facebook. I had a cousin that tried to reach out to me. I shared with you all that said, "What you're saying is very hurtful." And I straight up told her to, over the message, a shot through the neck hurts worse than any word I'll ever say. Because because the left has now made a precedent, and they don't realize it still.
Exactly.
And so, the final thing I'll say, and then I'll let you talk, Dusk, is I may have a target on my back. They could take me out. There's too many of us to do it all at once, though. Now,
it's like I've already stated this before. So all the major events that's happened in the past couple of years, where I said it's one thing if some random white woman on a bus gets stabbed because a 14 times let go felon got released from prison yet again because of corrupt judges. It's another thing if a politician gets an assassination attempt on their life because there are extremists that will use violence to ensure that their own political beliefs gets enforced or suppresses enemy political opinions. It's a completely other thing entirely if some you could talk up or down Charlie Kirk however you want, but for all intents and purposes, he is basically a general schmuck of a guy, not a politician, not a leading figure in anything. He was just a guy that just wanted to have a conversation. But this random schmuck gets his bloodshed and his life taken in an open forum. That is a completely and utterly different beast entirely, and is a genie coming out of the bottle moment, and it will not go back in.
And Marhawk, I don't know if you're actually joking about that or actually being serious. You're fine to say that, but I think the thing is now is more prevalent to us just how much of a target we actually are for just disagreeing with people than it was in the past. And like the violence is still happening. There literally was a guy that tried to shoot up an ICE facility in Dallas and shot 2 detainees on by mistake. The violence hasn't ended.
Well, it's not even just that. It's the fact that you got people who are so brain dead whenever it comes to this stuff that you had literally people that firebombed Ice Cube's.
I saw that because they thought it was an ice van, apparently.
Exactly. So, because these people are so brain dead that they just
Johnny's dying laughing over here.
I'm waiting to see somebody just set fire to an ice box at a dollar store because it says ice on it.
Well, you know what?
Waiting for that to happen.
That can actually be solved. Just put more money into school so they can read better. That's all we need.
Yeah, because that worked out so well too.
Don't even get me started on public education.
No, and hold up. Let me share this really quick. I'm okay with arguing with random strangers on the internet. The one thing I refuse to do is argue with my own family members about this because I know some of them know better. My own little sister, when I started sharing about the whole ICE thing, she was trying to be like, oh, but the ICE people are apparently deporting American citizens, which, first of all, not true at all. A lot of that's been false. And if anyone brings up the Maryland, I will reach through this and slap you across the face because that Maryland man thing was a complete hoax. And even if it was true, how does that make shooting at ICE agents any better? It doesn't.
Like I said, these people are just absolutely brain dead whenever it comes to this, where it's just literally the last 10 years more prominently of just listening to like the mainstream media that have just kept on going on and on about how people who disagree with you, they are Nazis. The president that we got, he's a fascist and all that.
Have y'all seen how quickly they went back on the fascist Nazi rhetoric after Charlie Kirk's assassination? How quickly they went back on to doing that?
Because they didn't want to admit that their rhetoric was still was getting out of control. They had to keep playing ball. They won't drop it because they've done it for so long now.
Exactly. It's like we've stepped over this line way too much. There's no way we can backtrack it now. That's exactly what it is.
Like shit's getting so bad that now to stay on the air, Bill Maher is actually starting to talk somewhat sense.
Well, Bill Maher, he's been doing that for a little while. Like he's still more leftist and whatnot, but he'll come out and occasionally say something that is actually okay. You're actually listening. Then he'll go back saying like, okay, you're being dumb again.
It flip flops a lot, especially when it came to like how to treat Muslims, because he is definitely the extremely anti-religious guy, but he'll always make an exemption for Muslims, and even now he's starting to like, okay, yeah, Muslims might actually be a bit of a problem.
Yeah,
and you flip flop on that like every other month.
But but one other thing is that we can also just see is the fact of these like studios and whatnot. I know somebody mentioned it in chat quite a while back. It's the whole entire thing that happened with Jimmy Kimmel, where he was off the air for not even a week. He came back, and then I saw reports that apparently his ratings and everything dropped about 70% since he came back. I mean, the man could barely even get. Yeah, the man could barely even get 100,000 people watching his show nightly and everything. His videos, unless he's talking, bashing about Trump, which those videos from these people will only get would get like millions of views and everything, while his regular views or videos will only get like tens of thousands and everything. Yet you look at somebody like Greg Gutfeld over on Fox, who's getting like over 1 million constantly, no matter what.
Yes, Gutfeld is actually generally funny and a charismatic person.
Exactly.
One of the phrases that I've been seeing now, and it's very much just sad how true it is now. They don't kill you because you're a Nazi. They call you a Nazi so they can kill you. That's literally what's kind of come down to now. And I don't want to make this go any longer than we need to, because it's like I want people to still be able to go enjoy their day, eat lunch and all that. And I know probably people have other things they got to do. So, Johnny, back to you again. Is there any final thoughts you want to share before we close this?
I think it goes back to these people are watching Bill Maher. People are very easily panicked. People are very easily put into a situation where they really truly feel it's life and death. There are very few people who have a consistent philosophy. I mean, I don't know if y'all listen to Dave Smith. He's pretty consistent, pretty good thinker. Bill Maher can think on his own, but yes, he is going to flip-flop because I take him as a consequentialist. He doesn't have I think maybe it comes down to the simple thing of it is law versus chaos. And I'm not saying it's, but in general, I think conservatives have a tendency towards lawfulness. Liberals and I'm a classical liberal from back when liberals believed in free market and stuff. I'm a Frederick Bastiat, Ludwig von Mises.
Free market, individual responsibility.
Yes. Yeah. Now it's been hijacked. Those words have been hijacked. As Michael Malice says, they don't use language to communicate. They use it to manipulate.
Frieren.
That's good.
Frieren right there. Great anime.
I also love how RPG creators now, a lot of them will try to dog on capitalism while using capitalism to still fund and create their work. That's always one thing I always call out. So
funny you say that, because if I were to bring an example of when I used to do my monthly showcase interview show of any tabletop creators, I'm not going to say any names or any systems, just keep an name because he's no longer active anymore, so I imagine he just wants to go away, but I'll use him as an example. One of the first people I interviewed did an indie tabletop game. For context, the setting was like industrial, like alt universe, industrial revolutionism, where magic came back into the world and actually like horrifically fucked the world, and magical abominations and stuff started like appearing, and a lot of the surviving kingdoms starts hiring the player characters who are magically afflicted people to sort of become like the secret police, where they'll go out and try and subvertly solve magical problems, magical mayhems. But because of the fact that the player characters are all basically like secret police with handlers and government affiliations and stuff, every time he went to a con, he would be called a fascist for that. And this was back in like 2014, 2015.
About the height when it all started, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
like I said, like the last 10 years.
Anything else you want to add, Johnny, real quick? I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
What's for a concept?
No. That's probably the wisest course of action is to interrupt me.
No, it's fine. I'm trying to make sure we're not all just like talking, because like I had to send a private message to Dusk Quill earlier to like, hey, I enjoy your rant, but we gotta wrap it up because we still have other stuff we want to talk about. so even though it's not a game, I'm still GMing the reins here on a lot of this. So I will still want to make sure everyone gets their share and everyone gets to talk, because again, like I used to be like very much moderate with right leaning, but now I'm definitely after this more towards like, I almost want to say Christian nationalist at this point is what I feel like, because I've definitely gone back more into the Bible and like what it stands for, and I'm definitely leaning more towards that route now, I think. So we'll see how that all plays out in the long run. So
There is, I say how people are pushed into that survival mode. Survival mode is also very real. I think survival mode is more real for your position than it is for the people who call themselves leftists. I don't think they're in as nearly as much danger as they claim to be. But and I don't think that it's dire for conservatives, like as an immediate. But I think the trend is much more towards being conservative, being much more dangerous on the street than being liberal. Because I do believe conservatives, there's that tendency. It was G.K. Chesterton said, a conservative is someone who wants to know why the fence is there before they tear it down. I mean, it might be holding back a very dangerous creature.
Sorry, no, I was going to agree with you because that's the saying is the person on the right wants to know why that fence is there and what it's keeping out, whereas the leftist likes, you're keeping me in with this fence, tears it down, and then gets mauled by the wolf.
Yep, and there is always a danger in innovation, and that's the thing they latch onto with capitalism. They latch on to, oh my God, we're doing this and we're pushing mom and pop out of business because of this industrial revolution. But they don't seem to realize that if you destroy the nuclear family, what happens to all of society upon which this is built? Be careful, even if the foundation is faulty, be careful of tearing the whole thing down. You can work on fixing the foundation. It's kind of like with games. I played second edition. First edition had flaws. I don't hate those flaws. I don't hate Gary Gygax for having those flaws. It seems like a lot of times they hate people who came up with something and it was flawed. The theory of value, the economic theory of value, subjective value theory seems obvious now, but we had to go through labor theory of value. Marx had labor theory of value. When we look back on it, oh, that looks stupid. I don't think it was. I mean, you were struggling with trying to find these truths. The thing is to not devolve into hating people who are trying and who are making a mistake. And I think that's one of the big problems with as a liberal with liberalism is looking at this old structure and mocking the failures rather than focusing on the successes and trying to make those successes stronger.
I like that. I agree with a lot of that because, like, again, even if some of us, like, again, we got classic liberals, we got moderates, we got right-leaner, we got more right people like me. We don't have to agree on everything. But I think it's kind of the point where we can only coexist with people like ourselves, but we cannot coexist with people who want to kill us. And that's what I've been more advocating for. It's like you cannot coexist with people who want your friends, or your family dead. And that's what it really feels like right now with the precedent the left has set.
Just remember, when we win, they want you dead, your children raped and brainwashed, and they think it's funny.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. So, I mean, I hate to end it on a sad note like that, but I
can end this on a much lighter note.
Yes.
If we want to know more about the reasoning why capitalism is evil and wrong, we need to listen to the experts of Hassan Piker and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, where they will tell us that it is evil and wrong, right now, and want us to go and buy their $500
motherfucker out of here.
I know you said that just for the reaction, but I think that was needed, though. So,
God, let this man out. Never bring this man back on.
That's like, okay, I'm kicking you out. No, I'm kidding.
What? They're experts on capitalism because they say all that and want to charge you for a $500 T-shirt.
And got like multi-million-dollar mansions they live in.
Socialist capitalist socialism.
All right, well, everyone, thank you for joining us for the very first episode of the Ultracast. I'm planning for this to be a weekly thing every Saturday, 10 a.m. Central. You may see all of us again. You may see new people. We'll switch out, but because again, there's like a good small group of us right now. where we talk about this stuff behind the scenes. We even have our own political discussions where I'm like, hey guys, I'm okay with having these discussions, but it's like, hey, let's not go all crazy conspiracy on the show. Otherwise, we're never gonna get off the air, basically. So, but it's just a fun place where everyone gets. We just have our own little chat where we everyone gets to just talk about what's going on. So,
But conspiracy
all right,
theories
so
are so fun.
yeah, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist believer, but I do love hearing and learning about them though. So I like to at least listen. So, all right, so I'll go around and I will say, so Johnny, is there anything you want to shout out or where people can find you at?
Yeah, unfortunately on Twitter or X as it's called now. I do have a YouTube channel. I've got two. I've got Extremist Content, which is political, and then I've got Powerful Silencer, the Alamo, I think it is. And I did a couple of things, but I don't upload very much. I do want to give a shout out to the Grog Empire and their, some of their products. What is it, Smoldering Dung Games? They do produce good stuff. It's old school stuff. Kind of sometimes a little bit, they got a little bit of gonzo stuff. Flipping and Turning magazine is available on Amazon, and it has that old Dragon feel. It is pretty cool, and they put a lot of effort into that. I admire those guys very much. I think that's it for me.
All right, Mr. Roger, what about you?
You can find me over on X at Roger Hopkins CTP, stands for Country Time Pop. I got a YouTube channel of Country Time Pop. I also got my own personal channel where I plan on doing like some just video game streams, while over on Country Time Pop is pretty much just your Southern style news and reviews of all things pop culture. Think of me trying to imitate very poorly Nerdrotic.
And also, don't forget we also got Rustic Rollers as well.
Yeah, thank you. And also over on Rustic Rollers, where we try to do games every Sundays and Mondays, usually around 6-7 p.m. EST on both days. And this week we will be doing the two games that I'll be running, which is Perils of Pandora and the One Piece D&D Bounty Hunters.
And then October 5th is when I will be back to run the second session of Curse of Strahd. And don't worry, everyone, when we're done with that session, I'm going to break all their 5e cherries and introduce some new games to the channel. So that way they're not stuck playing D&D forever. So, because we've already been talking about that kind of stuff behind the scenes. Well, yeah, because I already got ideas for different games that I'm going to run for them if it gets to that point. So, Duskquill.
You can find me on Twitter at Duskquill_team. Same thing on YouTube, though I don't post on there anymore. I'll be posting back as soon as I'm out the ArmyCom October 29th. At that point, I'll probably start making video games. Maybe start back up my indie tabletop showcase show. I'm also part of the Mythoverse, which is an indie comic book shared universe. A bunch of indie creators. You can find them at Mythoverse on Twitter or X. You can also find them same place on YouTube. And actually tomorrow, I will be we do Sunday game streams on the Mythoverse, and I will be doing a stream there tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, playing some Shadows of Forbidden Gods.
Yeah, definitely make sure all these links you guys have mentioned, make sure you do send them to me so I can make sure to put them in the video posthumously after this. So that way I can just make sure I have all that down. And then, as always, you can find me as the Ultra Mega TTRPG on X, YouTube, and then it's Ultra TTRPG on Rumble, where I try to do weekly Friday streams where either I interview a creator or I release a solo episode I did. I just did one last night with Runeforge TTRPG for his Shadows over... I got it right here, actually, for his Shadows of Camelot supplement he made for Shadow Dark, where it's basically think Tainted Grail for Shadow Dark. That's basically what this is. It's basically like an undead, corrupted King Arthur is what the whole storyline is. So you can get that now on DriveThruRPG. The links to that are in that previous video. And then, again, we're going to be doing this at least weekly, if it's possible. And if things come up, I will make sure to keep everyone posted up and all that. And I saw that we may end up if anyone else wants to feel like doing this, we can also like stream this to other like anyone else's YouTube and Rumble channels as well. If anyone wants to do that as well to increase the audience. So, but for now, I'm just going to keep it to mine for the time being. So,
Okay.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Dust, Johnny, and Roger for making this a great first episode. And hopefully we'll get to see you guys again. And we'll see some of the other guys that we've been talking to on the show as well. Because I can have like I think it's up to 6, including myself, unless I want to do another subscription service, which I'm tired of subscription services. So, all right. Well, everyone, make sure you have a great weekend, play some games, eat some great food, and just have a good day.
Take care.